Bird Gang is getting a little wild. You know what I mean? Today we're going to talk about Justin Simmons wanting in Philly. We're going to talk about the fullback position, and a little bit of wide receiver shakeup, just some little bit of noise. So, why not talk about it? You know what I'm saying? So per CBS, man, all pro safety, Justin Simmons is eyeing Philly. Like, not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Fangio coached him in Denver. Like, we all know that. Where would he be at in this defense? Will he slide next to Reed Blankenship? What would happen with Sidney Brown? What would happen with Andrew McCuba? Would he fit next to these guys perfectly? Would he be a perfect fit for Philly? That's what I need to know. What's the compensation for him? What is he expecting to make here? Would the cap space be tight? Is this a win now move? These are all the questions I have when we speak about Justin Simmons, bringing him here. Would you want to bring him here, or are you cool with, what we have in the building already, especially with Andrew McCuba just showing up, with Reed Blankenship and also Sidney Brown. Do you think that we still need to bring in Justin Simmons, man? Definitely leave a comment down below, because there's a lot of people going back and forth on, would they do that? So real quick, man, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles going old school. So there's a report from Atheon Sports that says the Birds could use a fullback position this season, possibly from the rookie class or undrafted free agent pickups. In my mind, I get to think about fullbacks like Kyle Juszczyk, especially with the offense that we have already with Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Dillon. Now you add a fullback or that position to the fold. Could it be Ben Van Sumeren? I'm not sure what position he has, but, adding a fullback would be great for the tush-push setup, especially red zone opportunities. I definitely think this is a smart chess move, taking it back old school, strong football. The Philadelphia Eagles are stronger than everybody already. The offensive line, from a quarterback standpoint, from a running back standpoint, we definitely tote a lot of power. So, that's something to definitely think about. Let's talk about Amari Cooper to Philly. Bleeding Green Nation links Amari to the Eagles, if Dallas wasn't going to bring him in. What would y'all think about that? Would y'all like a Amari Cooper with the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe like a third receiver? What would we do with Jahan Dotson at that point? We also got Terrence Marshall we just brought in, or could Howie just be posturing up, some mess with Dallas? Classic Howie behavior, man. But I did think that, Dallas was supposed to bring Amari Cooper back in so, he can get some help at the wide receiver position with just Lamb being the only star guy. So look, man, I keep you updated on that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that we kind of set at the wide receiver position, especially with bringing in Giles Jackson, another punt return specialist. But I do want to talk about Myles Hinton, and the family ties. Rookie Myles Hinton's brother, Chris Hinton, is already in the league. We already discussed that and spoke about it. We already feel like it's a strong pedigree there. Offensive line depth is crucial in my opinion, especially after last year's injury shuffle. We just got to make sure we're strong in the trenches. That's something that Howie always does well. Keeps us strong in the trenches. So, I'm not really worried about it too much. Man. Howie had a phenomenal draft.
The only team that I would go with that said that closed the gap a little bit is the Rams.
That's cute. He really could kill that noise because y'all not ready. We got better too. So y'all just not ready. We don't want to hear that. Look, man, the schedule is about to drop soon. So expect primetime lights. Fox already, leaked most of the opponents. So we know what we got coming up. We just got to know when we play these guys. We just got to know when we play them. And guess what? The Eagles are getting ready to repeat in 2026. No matter who is on the other side of us, man. That's just how I feel. But look, man, the roster is still loading up. You know, Howie's always cooking up. But what you guys think, man? I done did so much talking. What do you guys think? Should we add Simmons, you know, or should we add, you know, a fullback to this already so dynamic offense? Look, man, drop it in the comments. I respond to almost every comment, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I like to tap in with the people. A lot of people agree with me. A lot of people don't agree with me, and that's cool. Like, I'm not tripping. I get it, man. So all this is opinionated. You know, there is some facts. We're going to definitely spit the facts. And I'm going to let you know how I feel from how the standpoint. And you don't have to agree with it. You know what I mean? I'm not asking you to agree with it. It's just how I feel. You know what I mean? A lot of people been commenting saying that, you know, Jalen Hurts is nowhere near a top 2 quarterback. They trying to put him outside the top 10. Maybe some trying to put him just inside the top 10. And I think it's hypocrisy. When you look at these other quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying, and what they was ultimately able to accomplish, you know, at the highest level of football. I think it's hypocrisy. But hey, it is what it is, man. Some of us like to focus on having a bunch of yards, throwing a bunch of touchdowns, focus on the stats, but they're not worried about the ultimate stat, and that's the win and loss column. That's where the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, you know what I mean, and other fan base, where we just disconnect. Because y'all worried about, oh man, how many 4,000 yards has the quarterback had, or how many touchdowns has the quarterback thrown? You know, it doesn't matter when he gets in a playoff and he turns the ball over at a rapid rate. That doesn't matter because football is a team sport at that time. But just because Jalen Hurts got him a good team, when you start talking about Jalen Hurts and how good he is, oh, it's the team. Y'all want to bring up the team in when it's convenient. But when y'all bringing these other quarterbacks up, talking about the media darlings and bringing these guys up, it's all a bunch of excuses. That's why we don't see eye to eye. That's why the Philadelphia Eagles fan base don't see eye to eye with a lot of you other fan bases, because y'all focused on stats. We not focused on stats. We focused on winning football. We focused on champion football and what that looks like. Y'all ain't focused on that. And I get it. I understand, man. I understand. But Jalen Hurts is one of the ones, no matter how you slice it. He turned up the Met Gala. If you ain't see that, he turned up the Met Gala. He was there. So, you know, it's nothing that y'all can say to make me feel any type of way about my quarterback. You know what I mean? I know what I have in Jalen Hurts. I know what I have. And the whole Philadelphia does as well. The whole Philadelphia fan base does as well. We know what we have in Jalen Hurts, and we cool with that. If I'm starting a franchise, I'm starting it with Jalen Hurts. I'm skipping Joe Burrow. I'm skipping Josh Allen. I'm skipping Lamar Jackson. I'm going directly to Jalen Hurts, because I know one thing about Jalen Hurts. He's going to win some championships. And when it's time to step up to the plate and make great plays in key moments at the highest level of football, he's going to do it, and it's going to get done. But look, man, if you made it this far in the video and you felt like this puppy helped you out, please do the channel a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, man, to keep the channel in rotation. You know, we're on a path to 50,000 subs. We're going for the gusto. You know, we have had an influx of subscribers just over the past couple of days. Like, I appreciate everybody who's new to the channel. Please make sure y'all do all those things for me. And I appreciate all of the subs that's been rocking with your boy. Look, man, the channel is taking off, and I'm glad y'all here with me. Look, man, make sure y'all check out the store. Check out the new merch. We got the Eagles Gonna Repeat 2026 out there. Make sure y'all check that out. If you want, man, lock in with your boy. Let me know you purchased one. You already know we're going to be turned up after that. But until next time, Flight was fly.
Yeah, I got them diamonds on me dancing. Looking like they prancing. Always on my BI, we talking about expansion. Looking at a mansion, open up the benches. Hanging off the blicket, empty out the sticky. Shooting like I'm Jimmy. Chipwood, this good, sorry that I'm this hood.